Another day, another video. I'm pleased with the streak that I'm on. Working consistently is good. But the level of distraction I'm getting is not, because getting distracted is the bane of my existence. Yesterday ended up being supremely unproductive. The database is essentially done, but in doing so, I've kind of ended up missing the point, which is I'm looking for things to perform, not a database to create. And while having a database is good, very good, spending so long on it is probably not. So I've got a couple of things that I have found that I think would be really good. There is Bankwave, Champ, Faraday Pad, Flatpak, Protect Your Neck, and Wikitest. So far, those are the ones that I am very positive on. Now, as it happens, Bankwave and Flatpak and Wikitest don't need much practice. So, there is a book I want to look up. I hope I can have it as a download, but it is entirely on Zoom Magic. There are Zoom Magic resources that I have that I'm going to look through, and I think today that's going to be my focus. It's a bit disorganized. It's me. It's always disorganized, but there we are. My beard's filling in slowly. But I need to if I can establish methodologies for, because a lot of this is obviously I need a show, right? I need a thing to perform, like, ta-da, here it is, amazing, wow, sugoi. But I can actually control the environment that I'm performing in quite effectively. Because obviously it's going to be my room. Now, ideally, I have it as a modular setup, so I get bits by bits, borrow stuff until I can afford it, work out how to use my phone as a webcam, various assorted things like that. Because the thing is that I look through, I read these magic books, right? Like I've been reading Defat's, as I've mentioned a few times, I think. I've been reading Defat's book on, well, it's called Offbeat. And the essays in it are brilliant. The essays have really, really, really good, ideas and concepts, and essentially be yourself, fuck up a lot. And things to such effect on that. There was one I read this morning that was really good. But a lot of the time I'm looking at these tricks and I'm going, oh, that's cool. I wouldn't necessarily do it, but that's cool. And I think that's the biggest problem for me right now, or one of them. Because the problems are essentially setup, audience, I need an audience to perform to. But no, setup, audience, tricks. Theme I've got, whatever else I've got. So I think that the database was useful in establishing resources that I can grab stuff from. And I think it will be, in the future, invaluable. However, I think for now, it's something I should leave. Not completely, not totally ignore it. But I don't just want to do card stuff, right? We've established that. And that's a good way of creating different positions, right? Different backdrops, different environments. So obviously I'm going to have some stuff that's done close-up pad, which I have. Shout out to TCC Magic. Some of it is going to be looking at my face. Shout out Kirstein. So either what I do now is, hang on, I'm going to go to my magic business list, creating a show. So, oops. Either I work on environment, which I feel I can't actually do until I have the showdown. So that's not something I'll be doing soon, next week, within the next week or so. Obviously, there's the marketing side. So, marketing, work on environment, theme is sorted, but don't make it preachy. So you can have things that are tangentially related, but not really related. The actual Zoom itself, so, you know, what streaming software, and then also checking that I have a solid internet connection. I'm learning German, so at some point I will be translating the show into German and doing it in German, which will be very interesting. My German's getting there, slowly, but it's getting there. It's like I can now pick out phrases that I understand. Entschuldigung being one, because when you learn it, you say it slowly, but then when people say it, it's excuse me in German, right? So it's Entschuldigung, Entschuldigung, whereas it's Entschuldigung, but that's like me talking like this speed in English. So my German's getting better. Stuff will be translated, but that's a longer term thing. I need something before, I'd say before March, which is soon, but hopefully it'll be fine. Again, 2 hours a day, 30 days in a month, give or take. 60 hours, started last month, so I reckon it'll probably take me 100 hours to get a functioning show, and I've spent 12 already, more or less, including and ignoring the amount of time I spent on the bloody database. So, solid internet connection, what streaming software to use, themes, marketing, work on environment, cameras in general, because I have my iPhone camera, which I will be using, but if I am to use some of Kirstein's work, I need either a second iPhone, which not going to happen, or I need a way of accessing the stuff on my on some other software, which I'm sure I can do. So cameras in general. And then zoom specialty. Because every performance medium, from what I can tell, my limited experience, has things that it does better and has things that it does worse. For example, close-up in the hands of a spectator magic, like walk around, anything like that, is invaluable for getting across an idea of impact, right? Until you've done a card trick in someone's hands, like a 2-card Monty, or an ambitious card in their hands where they push the card in and the card goes to the top, something like that. Shout out Overly Ambitious and Facts by Loki Cross. Overly Ambitious is Dan Harlan. Then you don't understand the raw power that you can get from magic. It's a lot of the time how people interact. Most people don't go for magic shows regularly, but they might once in a while. Most people don't see magic at all, so seeing it is probably going to be close up in a close up environment, with close up, a magician wandering around with a close up pad, that kind of thing, right? So parlor stuff, which is where zoom is closer to, is, you can't do some of the same things because, it's a weird ground where, you still need to be pretty dexterous, but you can use things like savants because there's a little bit more distance. And then you can it's more likely to be able to use a table. However, because there's more distance, you might be amazed, but it doesn't have the raw power of something in your hands. Now, that's why parlor shows often have people sitting nearby that can act as rebroadcasters for the emotion for the audience. And then you've got the stage, which again is zooms all three, where you can't see and touch and make sure that, there's no mirrors and there's no threads, the same way you can with parlor and with close-up, but consequently it means you need to sell it a lot more. Also, a lot more boxes. So what makes Zoom special? That's the question. And what I think it is the fact that you have what makes Zoom special. It's in the comfort of their own home. So you can send stuff out. Everyone can get a physical item to take home, which is something you can't do in close-up and you can't do in parlor or stage. You have live video editing on the fly. You can pause parts of your screen, all sorts. So how can I use that to my advantage? Follow-up is, after I have a basic show, how do I pitchfork it? because I think you get the basic show, you get the, and that's a performance for basic show, which is just a standard performance. A smaller show, which is a smaller performance, maybe 15 minutes shorter, structured differently, and a big show, which is bigger, structured differently, and they get to keep something. Be it lessons, be it props or physical objects. I'm gonna have to go, and I'll hit record again later. See you in a bit. So as you can tell by the change in lighting, it's been a while since I filmed that previous part of the video. I ended up having to work on other things, and I had someone in my someone in my room, and I'm not being very public about the fact that I'm making a video essay diary. Not video essays, they're just video diaries, because I feel like when I actually have a show out and it's working, then maybe I'll review the videos, but ultimately I'll reformat them into a proper set of videos, and then those ones I'll show people. But right now, the state these videos are in, they're a mess, no one's going to watch them, blah 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 blah. I don't think I've had any unique viewers apart from myself. Although I haven't checked YouTube analytics in a while. That's a lie, I think I checked it a day or so ago. So yeah, so Zoom. I need to work on the environment, the marketing, theme, which I've kind of got, but I need to make it not preachy, and I need to make it interesting and engaging and not just about it. Think Darren Brown's stuff, he's always got a theme behind it, but it's never the whole thing, and you kind of have to think a little bit to work out what he's talking about, which is always a sign of a good show, engaging the mind. What streaming software to use, having a solid internet connection, cameras in general, and the fact that it's on Zoom and how to use that to my advantage. I was given this today, yay, it's very nice. I was also given this thing, which is a ring that does like the foldy openy stuff, which is very fun. Wow, that flashes awfully. I can never use that vanishing guy. I cut that out, Christ. Yeah, that was awful. Hang on, so... no, that's better. Better, it's not right. So... the tricks. The tricks. And I think this is going to be the problem, right? I think the problem is essentially working out what to perform. Because if I had to do a close-up show tomorrow, I'd start with something, the stuff that I have is, the rubber band stuff, got basic ring stuff, basic coin stuff, and a load of card stuff, plus my modified TCM. Got it sorted. But Zoom's a little different. So, I think the best bet for me right now is to look at resources that I don't think I have. Well, no, some of them I know I have, and some of them I think will be worth looking through. But on Zoom Magic. I feel like that dances around the point though. I've only got another, just under an hour left today, and then I'm going out with people, which I can't really bail on. I don't want to bail on it, to be clear, but I really can't really bail on it at the moment. Because, you know, in reality, what I'd like to do is perform an entire show of my own original stuff. That's simple as. I'd like to perform an entire show of my own original content. I don't have any original content that works yet. And I especially don't have any that will work probably over Zoom. So the question is, you know, and that was what the database was meant to solve. That's why I made the database. So, okay, so that's what I need to do. Creating a show list I've got now, right? If I have a new list, wait, no, leave that list, yes. So, actionable stuff. Gonna put that in there. Microsoft To Do, shout out. Ultimately, it's get the show going, get the marketing going. So, the creating of the show itself includes working on the environment, the marketing of the theme, what streaming software, solid internet cameras in general, Zoom specialty, and how to use it to our advantage. What's the actionable stuff? So that would be working out what tricks, working out what tricks to do, and I think there's a variation on the water napkin trick that I can do remotely that's quite fun. Working out what tricks to do, but also looking at Zoom performance resources. And then going over the rest of the Excel sheet. Because just running into this blind is not, I think, going to be that helpful or useful. So, yeah. And then every 5 or 10, every now and again, I spend 5 or 10 minutes building the archive database. Probably shouldn't put this in my mouth. It's been in so many hands. I should probably wash this, honestly. It was given to me by a friend, as I said, but it has been handed around quite a lot recently. So I think 933. I think the biggest problem is that there's a lot less proof of non-existence of setup for Zoom stuff, which is making me think more about mentalism, because I've got quite a few mentalism resources. I think for now I just start looking at the Zoom resources I have, and we see where it goes from there. So time for the time zoomies. So we got 2220. So I found the it was called Connected Live. It was in 2021, so a few years ago now, and they did a 7-hour video stream live thing, and that's full of the stuff I'm going to look at. So I think my next couple days, maybe, rather than trying to focus on tricks, seems weird, right? Like, it's a magic show. I'm not going to focus on the magic. It's sort of like, on the one hand, I know the themes and the ideas and what I want to talk about, what I want to say. And there's a level to it where it's like, just make the show. Just pick tricks and you'll work out whether or not it works. And that scares me, completely honestly. Because there's the argument of, oh, what if it's the wrong trick? But the more I think about it, the more I realise you can't actually, because of dodgy internet connections existing, you cannot have, like pick a card tricks. You can have name a card. That works. Which might be where I can bring the door to stuff in, but yeah, I think that that might be the best use of my time, is watching through this. I might cherry pick initially. I might find individual bits that I think are more valuable than others, but looking at the set list for this thing, you've got virtual magic, tech, how to market it, how to use social media, using virtual magic on stage, whatever the hell that is, virtual mentalism, virtual show and lecture. Oh, that's Mark James. That's funny. Future of virtual magic, and Jason Surin for Press Pack 1, whatever that is. I'm just going to have a look quickly. Oh. Oh, okay, that's the marketing. Sure. So, I think all of it will be really useful. And I think I'm going to have to write notes and shit. Which is fine and good, honestly. Because getting bored of just thinking and blah blah blah, it's nice to have stuff written down physically. But as well as that, There's also a book, I believe, published on the topic of virtual magic. And that, I think, might just help. I think, yeah, the advantage of doing mentalism is that it's through Zoom. There's no also stop here kind of stuff. It's interesting, if you type in virtual magic, you get about 450 results. And some of it's basic stuff, or some of it's just like, oh, this stuff's perfect for Zoom shows. But I think the one I'm looking for is hang on. A book and download thing called Video Chat Magic. That's the one I was looking for, I think. Oof, that's pricey though, fucking hell. Book and download, or just download. On the one hand, I'm broke. Got very little money. This is the thing that I should have started with, I think, this book. Book and download is 57 quid. I said to myself I wouldn't be making stupid purchases this month. But a part of me doesn't think that this is a stupid purchase. Part of me thinks this is genuinely a really good thing to have. But if I get this, then I put the... If I get this, it adds a week minimum to my show. Minimum. So, what are the things that I'm required legally to buy? I don't have the health insurance problem anymore. I need food and that's it. Put aside 100 quid for life. If I don't go out and just knuckle down, I think it might be worth it. £40 versus 60 quid. I'll get the download instantly. That I can rip through really quickly. And if/when I finally get a fucking job. Okay, so right. This is the very definition of me getting sidetracked. I don't want to have to do all this by trial and error over months and months and months. If I do one show that's successful, charge £7, have 30 people, which is a lot, that pays for the book. And if I get a job, fuck. You know, that covers most of it. Beard looks better in the dark. Okay. Wow, resources. Bane of my fucking existence. I thought it might be around 50, not 60. Christ, what a bike. Well, this entire video is a mess. Yeah. Whoops. Hopefully from now on it'll be a bit more linear. Okay, so from here I think it's pretty clear. I go through the Vanishing Ink videos. Not worrying about what tricks I'm going to do, because that will come in time. But yeah, I think I kind of have to do wiki test, right? I have to do wiki test. That's going to be bank. That's money. That costs. So, yeah. Okay, well, I'll get that and I'll look at that. But for now, I think I go through the downloads of the resources I currently have. And we'll see where we go from there. So, that's done. I have to go now. I'll stitch this video together later and publish it probably tomorrow morning. So you might get 2 videos tomorrow. Ooh, for all those people watching, for all my viewers. Yeah, I'll restitch this together into a proper thing later, but I've got to go now. Have a good day. So, another day. The video from yesterday isn't uploaded and won't be uploaded until, obviously, this video goes up. I am just going to continue going through the Connected Live 2021 live stream. I only made it about 10 minutes in last time because of other things. I now have extra resources, which is nice. books and stuff, which will be very helpful, and I get the feeling that this will help those books even more, but not my bank balance, because that was not cheap. However, if my aim really is to get a show going and working, these books have the information that I need, so they're kind of invaluable. Yeah, so I'm just going to go through this this live stream, and it might be that this video ends up being very short and just fast forwarded guff, basically. Would be nice, but if it's not the case, that's fair enough as well. I mean, I might want to comment and I might have ideas. So far, the biggest idea is the positioning and where I am and stuff like that, which is interesting. Yeah, so on with the show, so to speak. Okay, so a very, very interesting video lecture. The first one of the Connected Live Vanishing Ink convention. The full stream has still got about just under 6 hours left in it, but I did manage to get through around 2 hours of it in about 2 hours. I had it on slightly sped up and was writing notes at the same time, so it kind of balanced itself out. What are the conclusions? The conclusions are, well, the conclusions are quite a lot of notes on my computer because I didn't bother writing it down properly. I just had it up on a, 2 panels. Because it was just easier to do that like that, because then you're already hitting pause and typing and whatever. The conclusion was that maybe just adapting tricks is not going to work so well, which is unfortunate. Just adapting tricks directly is not going to necessarily work so well. It doesn't mean you can't do tricks that you wouldn't normally otherwise do. So for example, a gypsy thread or a torn and restored thread, which I've got one of, or rather I know one of, which sort of doesn't play as big. It's better if it's done close and small. Maybe Abyss is not such a bad idea for a trick. Although I'm just thinking about that. Abyss used as a reveal. Same. And away red to reveal. Yeah. I think here's the plan from now, because that lecture was so informative and so useful. I wish I'd started with it, to be honest. I don't think the previous, well, with the exception of the accidental deep dive into the database, I don't think the previous days were a waste. What I do think, however, is that this is where it begins, kind of, my actual proper work on this. I have the Virtual Magic book coming, although I already have the download, and I found another download for a different one that I'm just reading through on my phone casually. So I think the next few days it's really worth going over the connected live stream, and then after I've done that, I work on the Virtual Magic book, because as I said, I've got another book, but I'll just read through that whenever I've got like a spare moment. And yeah. So I think I will have cut out a large chunk of this video, because I didn't say anything to the camera at any point, and 100 times sped up is only so useful when it's 2 hours, because 2 hours divided by 100 is still 20 minutes of just weird silence. So I'll just, I think, have it fade out, and this will be added on top of the recordings from yesterday that were a bit of a mess. But these lectures are giving me all sorts of wonderful ideas. I think there will be at least 1 week of playing around with OBS, which from what I can hear is the software that's the best for it. You need 1 week of work on that book, the 300-odd page book that I received, or I'm receiving. A week on tricks, a week on everything else. So I think it's going to be at least a month and a half if I've got my rational head on, because I expect, especially when I have exams and all sorts of other things also present, which is a shame, but not the end of the world, because I'm actually getting consistent work done on this, which I'm kind of proud of myself for, because I struggle with focusing, even if it is something I care about. It's a very, very interesting video. Very interesting video. The next on the little list of people is the Virtual Magic Tech, which is perfect for what I need for information-wise, because that's stuff I can buy and get sorted and organise in the background. Marketing, kind of got that down, so I might be able to skip through that. Power of social media, something I do need to work on. Virtual magic on stage, that's something I'm not sure is useful. Performance tips will be useful. Virtual mentalism will be useful. Virtual show and lecture will be useful. But I think that I will be able to skip over some of these a little bit more. I'm glad I did the resources for the first few days. I'm glad I did that. But I think that this is more applied than that was. That was very applied, but it was very applied generalist, whereas this is very applied for virtual magic. Yeah. So, it's very good. Right, time to edit and upload quickly. I might have to drop it from 2 hours to 1 hour 45, and the last 15 minutes is the editing and uploading. But, yeah. I think the virtual magic tech stuff is going to be really, really, really useful. But now I need to get on and work on my other presentation that I have for next week, which is an academic one. And we'll see where it goes from there. So, have a good day. Love y'all that are totally watching. and maybe I see you soon.